Let me ask you something uncomfortable. If your life doesn't change in 5 years, would that scare you? Be honest. Same routine, same excuses, same potential. Scrolling, talking, planning, but not building. Ambition isn't loud. It's not motivational quotes. It's not one day. It's action, daily, relentless. If this stings, good, because today we find out whether you're truly ambitious or just comfortable. There is a difference between wanting more and being willing to become more. Ambition is not desire. It is discipline applied over time, and many men mistake restlessness for ambition. Here are 10 signs you are not as ambitious as you believe. 1. You talk more than you execute. Dreams come easily. Results do not. You have ideas, big ones, powerful ones. You can describe the future you want with clarity. The business, the body, the mindset, the lifestyle. When you speak about it, you sound convincing, motivated, ready. But when the conversation ends, nothing moves. In today's world, it's dangerously easy to confuse talking with doing. We announce goals online. We share gym selfies on day 1. We brainstorm startups in group chats. We consume productivity content for hours, and for a moment, it feels like progress. But motion is not movement. The emotional hit of talking about your goals releases the same dopamine as actually working toward them. That's the trap. Your brain feels rewarded before the work is done. So execution becomes optional. Then weeks pass. You see others quietly building, quietly improving, quietly launching, and a subtle frustration starts forming inside you. Why am I still here? You begin doubting yourself. Not because you lack ability, but because you lack follow-through. The problem isn't that you dream. Dreaming is powerful. The problem is outsourcing satisfaction to words instead of action. Execution is boring, repetitive, invisible. It doesn't get applause. It doesn't trend. It doesn't feel glamorous. But it compounds. The solution is simple, not easy. Speak less. Track more. Replace public declarations with private discipline. Set smaller daily targets that force movement. If you say you'll train, train even when no one knows. If you say you'll build, build even when it's messy. Let your results speak before you do. In a culture obsessed with announcements, silence is power. Because at the end of the year, nobody remembers what you said you would do. They only see what you actually built. 2. You wait to feel motivated, but feelings are weather. Ambition is structure. You tell yourself, I'll start when I feel ready, when the mood is right, when the energy hits, when inspiration strikes. But days pass, then weeks. In today's world, we are addicted to motivation. We scroll through reels that hype us up. We watch transformation videos. We listen to podcasts that light a fire inside us. And for a moment, we feel unstoppable. But feelings are weather. They change without permission. Some mornings you wake up focused. Other mornings you feel heavy, distracted, unmotivated. If your progress depends on emotion, your progress will always be unstable. That's the problem. Motivation feels powerful, but it's unreliable. It disappears when you're tired, when you're stressed, when life becomes inconvenient. And modern life is full of inconvenience. Bills, deadlines, family pressure, endless notifications pulling your attention in every direction. Ambition, real ambition, is structure. It's the decision to act whether you feel like it or not. It's showing up to train on the days you feel average. It's working on your craft when no one is watching. It's keeping promises to yourself when the excitement fades. Structure beats emotion because structure doesn't negotiate. The solution is to build systems, not moods. Fix your schedule. Set non-negotiable habits. Reduce decisions. Decide once and execute daily. When action becomes automatic, motivation becomes irrelevant. You don't need to feel inspired to move forward. You need discipline strong enough to carry you through emotional winters. Because if you only act when you feel like it, you'll build a life that's as unstable as your mood. And ambition deserves something stronger than that. 3. You blame circumstances, the economy, your past, other people. But control begins inward. It's easy to point outward. The market is unstable. Opportunities feel limited. The system seems unfair. Maybe you grew up without guidance, without money, without support. Maybe someone betrayed you. Maybe you were overlooked. Maybe you were never given the head start others had. And in today's world, rising costs, competitive industries, curated success stories flooding social media, it feels justified to blame circumstances. You scroll and see people winning, traveling, launching businesses, upgrading their lives. Meanwhile, you feel stuck. The frustration is real. But here's the dangerous part. When you blame everything outside of you, you hand over your power with it. Yes, the economy affects you. Yes, your past shaped you. Yes, other people can slow you down. But none of those things fully control your next move, unless you let them. Blame feels comforting because it removes responsibility. It explains your stagnation. It protects your ego, but it also freezes your growth. Control begins inward. You may not control the economy, but you control your skills. You may not control your past, but you control your response to it. You may not control others, but you control your boundaries. The solution is radical ownership. Ask yourself, what is within my control today? Your habits, your effort, your focus, your learning, your circle, your mindset. Shift from why is this happening to me to what can I build despite this? In modern times, adaptability is currency. The people who rise are not the ones with perfect conditions. They are the ones who master imperfect ones. Circumstances influence you. They do not define you. The moment you stop blaming is the moment you reclaim authorship over your life. And authors don't wait for better weather. They write anyway. 4. You avoid discomfort. You choose ease over growth. And comfort quietly weakens you. It starts small. You skip the workout because you're tired. You delay the hard conversation because it feels awkward. You stay in the familiar job, the familiar relationship, the familiar routine, not because it fulfills you, but because it's predictable. In today's world, comfort is engineered for you. Food delivered in minutes, entertainment on demand, algorithms that show you what you already agree with. You can scroll for hours without moving. You can avoid rejection by never trying. You can silence boredom instantly. Discomfort has become optional. And that's the problem. Growth lives in friction. Strength is built under resistance. Confidence is forged in moments where you feel uncertain, exposed, or stretched. When you constantly choose ease, your tolerance for difficulty shrinks. Small challenges begin to feel overwhelming. You start doubting yourself. You hesitate more. You overthink risks. Comfort feels safe, but it slowly erodes resilience. The emotional trigger is subtle. One day you realize you're stuck, not because you lack talent, not because you lack opportunity, but because you've trained yourself to avoid what feels hard. The solution isn't to chase suffering. It's to build a habit of voluntary discomfort. Do one hard thing daily. Speak up. Train when you don't feel like it. Learn the skill that intimidates you. Have the conversation you've been postponing. Expose yourself to environments that demand more from you. Discomfort expands capacity. It rewires your identity from someone who avoids to someone who endures. In modern culture, ease is abundant. Strength is rare. And strength isn't built when everything feels good. It's built when you choose growth, even when comfort is calling your name. 5. You seek validation instead of progress. You want applause before achievement. You post the announcement before you've done the work. You share the idea before you've built the proof. You crave the proud of you comments before you've actually earned them. In today's world, validation is instant. A photo gets likes in seconds. A bold statement gets attention. A public goal gets encouragement. And for a moment, it feels like progress. But applause is not achievement. Social media has blurred the line between becoming and appearing. You can look disciplined without being disciplined. You can sound ambitious without taking risks. You can curate effort instead of executing it. And that's the trap. Validation gives you a dopamine hit. It soothes insecurity. It tells you that you're seen. But when the noise fades and you're alone with your unfinished goals, the emptiness hits harder. You begin chasing approval instead of growth. You measure success by reactions instead of results. You hesitate to start quietly because no one will clap for the boring, invisible phase. The problem is subtle. When you depend on external validation, your motivation becomes fragile. If people don't respond, you slow down. If they criticize, you retreat. Your progress becomes controlled by audience reaction. The solution is to shift your reward system. Learn to value private wins. Celebrate consistency. Track output, not applause. Ask yourself at the end of the day, did I move forward? Not, did anyone notice? Build in silence. Improve off camera. Let results speak when they're undeniable. In a culture addicted to attention, discipline looks quiet. It doesn't perform. It produces, because real confidence doesn't need applause. It's built in rooms where nobody is watching, and it shows when everybody is. 6. You lack daily discipline. Ambition is not intensity. It is consistency. You get fired up easily. One powerful video. One late-night realization. One surge of emotion. And suddenly, you're ready to change your life. You plan everything. New routine. New goals. New standards. For a few days, you're unstoppable. Then life happens. You wake up tired. Work gets stressful. Notifications distract you. The excitement fades, and the habits slowly collapse. Not because you don't care, but because you relied on intensity instead of structure. In today's world, we glorify intensity, hustle culture, no days off, dramatic transformations, viral grind stories. But what you don't see is the boring repetition behind real success. Ambition isn't loud. It's repetitive. The problem is this. When you lack daily discipline, your progress resets every week. You keep restarting. Restarting the diet. Restarting the business idea. Restarting the self-improvement journey. And every restart chips away at your confidence. You start thinking, maybe I'm just not built for this. But it's not about talent. It's about consistency. Discipline means showing up when it's average. When it's inconvenient, when nobody is praising you. It means doing the small task that moves the needle, even when it feels insignificant. The solution is simple systems. Lower the bar for daily action. Make it non-negotiable. Instead of training for 2 hours once a week, train 30 minutes every day. Instead of waiting for perfect focus, commit to 1 focused hour. Track streaks. Protect routines. Consistency compounds quietly. In a culture obsessed with big bursts of effort, steady discipline feels boring. But boring builds results. Intensity gets attention. Consistency builds identity. And the version of you that wins long-term isn't the most motivated. It's the most consistent. 7. You fear failure more than regret. So you never risk enough to grow? You tell yourself you're being careful, strategic, patient. You say you're waiting for the right time. But deep down, it's not timing. It's fear. Fear of looking foolish. Fear of being judged. Fear of trying publicly and failing visibly. In today's world, failure feels amplified. Mistakes can be screenshotted. Attempts can be criticized in comment sections. Social media showcases polished wins, not messy beginnings. So you compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20 and decide it's safer not to start at all. That's the problem. When you fear failure more than regret, you shrink your ambition to fit your comfort zone. You apply for the safe job, not the stretch role. You stay silent instead of sharing your ideas. You avoid launching, posting, speaking, building, because what if it doesn't work? But here's the emotional truth. Regret is slower, quieter, and heavier. It shows up years later when you see someone succeed at the thing you once dreamed of. It whispers at night when you wonder what could have happened if you had tried. It lingers in the gap between who you are and who you could have been. Failure stings quickly. Regret lingers. The solution is to redefine failure. It's not proof of inadequacy. It's data. It's feedback. It's refinement. Every attempt builds skill, resilience, and clarity. Growth demands exposure. Take calculated risks. Start small but visible. Share the project. Submit the application. Have the conversation. Let discomfort be evidence that you're expanding. In a culture that edits out mistakes, courage looks rare. But the people who grow are not fearless. They simply fear regret more than they fear falling. And that changes everything. 8. You consume more than you create. Information without application is self-deception. You scroll, you watch, you read, you listen. Every day, there's an endless flood of advice, tutorials, quotes, and motivational clips. You feel inspired. You feel smart. You feel ready. But then you close the app. You turn off the screen. And nothing changes. In today's world, consumption is effortless. Social media algorithms are designed to keep your attention. Podcasts promise wisdom without work. Free courses accumulate in bookmarks. You can feel productive without moving an inch. The trap is subtle. You mistake learning for growth. You confuse exposure for execution. The emotional cost is real. You feel stuck. You feel guilty. You know deep down that time is slipping, but the next video promises insight. So you keep consuming. The loop gives temporary satisfaction, like eating sugar instead of protein. It energizes briefly, then leaves you hollow. The problem is simple. Knowledge alone does not change your life. You need action. You need application. You need creation. The solution is radical. Shift from passive consumption to active creation. After learning something, apply it immediately. Write what you've learned. Build the project you've been dreaming about. Share your ideas, even if they're messy. Experiment, fail, adjust. Track results, not impressions. Set boundaries on consumption. Limit the endless scrolling. Schedule creation time as sacred. Even 30 minutes a day of building something tangible compounds faster than 1,000 hours of watching someone else build. Creation transforms knowledge into experience. Experience transforms you into results. In a culture addicted to endless learning without doing, action becomes your superpower. Stop being a spectator in your own life. Build, execute, create. Because one day, the difference between those who only consume and those who create will be the only thing people notice. 9. You surround yourself with mediocrity. Environment shapes standards. You've heard it before, but do you feel it in your life? Who you spend time with silently defines what you accept as normal. Their energy, habits, and ambition seep into your own. In today's world, mediocrity is everywhere. Social media amplifies it. Everyone posts the highlight reel, yet quietly settles. Conversations revolve around excuses, complaints, and superficial concerns. Workplaces tolerate minimal effort. Friend groups stagnate. Even family can unconsciously anchor you to safety instead of growth. The problem is subtle but devastating. When you live in an environment of mediocrity, your own standards shrink. Big goals start to feel unrealistic. Motivation fades. Risk feels dangerous. You start comparing yourself to comfort, not excellence. Over time, you stop pushing boundaries. You accept less than your potential. Emotionally, it feels like frustration you can't shake. A quiet dissatisfaction that whispers, I should be doing more, achieving more, but why bother? The worst part is, it isn't obvious until years pass, and you realize you've been shaped by others' limits rather than your own vision. The solution is deliberate curation. Evaluate your environment. Seek people who challenge you, who inspire consistent effort, who demand excellence from themselves and those around them. Cut down toxic habits and interactions that drain ambition. Join communities, mastermind groups, or networks where growth is the baseline, not the exception. Small changes compound. Start with one mentor, one peer, or one accountability partner who raises your standards. Gradually, your environment will reflect your goals, not your excuses. Remember, mediocrity is contagious, but so is greatness. Surround yourself with people who embody what you want to become. Let their discipline, vision, and persistence elevate your own. Because your environment doesn't just influence your day, it shapes the person you will become. Ask yourself, are the people around me lifting me or quietly holding me back? 10. You say someday, but someday is the language of delay. Ambition is not noise. It is silent sacrifice. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. Next week is better. When the time is right, I'll go all in. And in today's world, someday is everywhere. Endless scrolling, online learning, curated success stories. They make waiting feel productive, make inaction feel safe. The problem is clear. Every someday is a day lost. Every delay strengthens your comfort zone and weakens your resolve. The longer you wait, the heavier your dreams feel. Motivation fades. Opportunity slips quietly past. Meanwhile, others quietly build while you rehearse your intentions in your head. Ambition is not about talking. It's about waking up before the alarm. It's about grinding while no one notices. It's about saying no to impulse, no to distraction, no to the easy escape that whispers, not today. The real battle is internal, against the part of you that seeks comfort, against the part that rationalizes delay, against the part that negotiates with weakness. This is the voice that convinces you to scroll, to wait, to defer. Master it, because ambition without self-control collapses. Strength without discipline decays. The solution is structure. Govern your life with principles, not moods. Set non-negotiable daily action that compounds quietly over time. Track consistency over excitement. Reward effort over applause. Build routines that remove choice from your weaker self. Formidable people don't wait for the perfect day. They build systems, they enforce standards, they take action when nobody is watching. Their progress is quiet, relentless, and unstoppable. In modern life, distraction is abundant. Discipline is rare. Silence the someday voice. Sacrifice ease today for freedom tomorrow. Because the person who masters their impulses, governs their days, and builds quietly becomes unstoppable, long before the world even notices. Ask yourself, how many somedays have already passed, and what will you do today to reclaim them?